Welcome back, and I want to look at concluding step one with actually what you're going to go back and do in your church, what you're going to be doing when you get back to your church. The first thing is you're not responsible for running the healthy church part, but if your pastor says, hey, what are the healthy church trainings that we need to make sure we've done, you can point to this and say, well, it says purpose-driven essentials. And so that's something that your pastor probably already has. If not, you can contact us at peacechurch@saddleback.com, and we'll help you get those PD essentials for your church. Then it's your responsibility to make sure your pastor lines up Class 401. It's a class on discovering your mission for the church members. The reason why this is important to start off with is this is what launches people into personal peace. Again, if you don't have this material, it's available. It's actually available in a workshop, and we'll talk about peace workshops as we go. And you could actually take the workshop, get Class 401, and teach this for your church as your pastor sets that up for you. So that's first. Make sure you've got the healthy church process going and that you're ready to step in as people come around after having learned how to serve in the church. They're coming around ready to serve in the mission. And you're teaching Class 401 first. So that's what comes up first. You see the next arrow is peace plan vision casting. When your pastor feels like, it's time to do something more than just personal peace, you're going to see, as we talk about mobilization, two parts of mobilization. One is a pilot project and the other is church-wide. In the pilot project, oftentimes you'll have the pastor play something like the It Is Time video. We can provide that for you. It's in your notes on how to get that. And then how to do a peace promotion. How do you tell the whole church about what the peace plan is? And then you're looking for a few that want to get started. There's some sermon samples if your pastor wants to know how to teach a church on mission or in particular the peace plan. And then finally a response card, because what you don't want is for the pastor to give a message and then at the end have everybody staring at him wondering, what do I do next? So you want a response card. There's a copy in here where that can already be in the bulletin or the hands of people so that when the pastor says, and this is what the peace plan's about, and if you'd like to be somebody who gets started with it, you can check this box and turn that in, and somebody will get back to you. And that's where it's then your job as a peace leader to get back to them and say, let's get together and let's talk about what those first steps are going to be. Once you get those responses, if the people have not been through Class 401 and gotten started with personal peace, you have to go back to the beginning of the arrow with them and say, hey, let's have you get to Class 401. Let's have you get started with personal peace. And then we can jump over to community preparation. Now, this is actually the first time where you step into the community, but it's not to step into the community to go and do, it's to step into the community to go and discover. So one of the first thing you do is you actually get down on your knees before you go in the community because you're going into a battleground. The enemy doesn't want you out there, so you want to pray a spiritual covering over you and your team that's going to go out, and actually ask God to go before you, to open doors, to show you a person of peace. And when you go into the community, your real objective in the beginning is to build relationships. Even though those might not be the people you're working with, whether it's the poor or the orphan or widow or the sick, you're not necessarily starting a relationship with them. You want to start a relationship with people that are in leadership of areas that you want to go work in. So, for example, if you're going to work among the sick, you want to go build relationships among the people who know about health care in that community. It could be a doctor, it could be a hospital administrator, it could be a clinic, public health person. In education, you might want to go talk to teachers or administrators. You might go talk to the mayor or local government leader, what's happening in our community. And we're going to talk about how to do this assessment here in just a second. But you want to build relationship with those kinds of people and discover not only what's happening there, but who's willing to open the door, who's willing to have you come and serve. And oftentimes we'll have people tell us, oh, you're the church, I'm not sure you can serve here. You can say, that's okay. We're just discovering what the needs are in the community, if that's okay. So you don't have to be asking to go and serve in the hospital or in some government facility. The next point it says is community assessment. We do a workshop on how to enter into the community. And some of the things that you'll learn in that assessment, first of all, is how to do asset assessment. You don't start off with what the needs are. You start off with what's already being done in the community and who's doing it. And as you do that, you'll begin to discover major gaps in terms of people's needs being met. And so you start with kind of an asset assessment, and we teach you how to do that. And then secondly, after you've done that, you begin to look at where are the gaps, what are the needs, what is something that our church members could get started with. Oftentimes people come back from that needs assessment and say, we need a clinic, or we need a shelter for people, or we need and that's great, but that's oftentimes not a good place to start in terms of helping members first take a crawl step into the community and begin to meet the people in need and understand what those needs are. So that's the next thing you do, is you get your community prepared. And then lastly, transition church to peace. Oftentimes people that get started with the peace plan fail to remember that almost every church is already doing something in the community. They're already doing something in mission. They're already caring about people in their community. And that's the wonderful thing about the church around the world. The church has always been about caring about people in the community. So you want to start off finding out from your senior pastor and other leaders, what is our church already doing? And when you discover what it's already doing, you want to discover kind of, Pastor, are there any things that you want us to make sure we're continuing to do? And then we're going to teach you a little bit later how do you transition a church from where you are today to where you want to be. And so there's some steps on how to do that. There's an action planner that's a part of that, and a job description for what you're going to be doing as a volunteer or as a staff member of a church that's leading mission. So this is step one. Step one is a foundation. It's about a healthy church, producing healthy members. That leads to every member on mission, healthy people that are going out in the community. Where you do mission is in Acts chapter 1, verse 8. Personal peace, your Jerusalem. Local peace, your Judea and Samaria. And global peace to the ends of the earth. That's the foundation. It's very simple, but it's profoundly important as you begin to lead this in your church. And oftentimes when you're trying to solve problems or solve issues in your church, you have to go back to this foundational step and make sure people understand that before you go any further. So let's stop now. Again, talk to the person next to you, or if you're with a group, talk about this chart and begin to look at and write down step by step. We're going to do this first, then this second, then this third, then this is fourth. So as we close step one, what I'd like for you to do is take some time to go back over this healthy church disciple-making process and just discuss with each other what this looks like for you. And then why don't you spend some time talking about how you can understand this disciple-making process better, which will help you then mobilize more people in your church. So take some time and do that, and then we'll come back together.